Now, you'll love my next story. I've got just the most wonderful guests, and they've actually been tweeting me throughout the weekend because a church is celebrating its 800th anniversary. Now, churches often celebrate special anniversaries, but not many of them go back 8 centuries. So next year, St. Peter's in Berkhamsted will be marking its 800th anniversary, and the church is calling on the local community to help out, put a big celebration. So their rector, Stuart Owen, joins me this morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Nighat. How are you?
Thank you so much for coming so early. What is the history of St. Peter's Church?
So the church was built about 800 years ago next year, just after Magna Carta was signed. It's one of the largest churches in Hertfordshire. And we're really keen to go out to the local community and get everybody involved, because it seems to me what we're celebrating next year is not just a pile of stones standing up for 800 years, which is a remarkable achievement in itself, of course. But what we're celebrating is the stories of the people who've made that building live across those 8 centuries. We're fortunate we're able to keep the doors of our church open most of the time for people to come in and out. And I'm often moved when I go through the church during the day to see that people will have been in and lit candles. And one of the things that strikes me is that across those 8 centuries, for all that's changed, and obviously a huge amount has changed across 800 years, the stories of those people who've come in and out and found that place of help and support to them probably haven't changed that much at all. People have come in to light a candle because they're worried about their children, or because they've got someone who's sick, or because I was listening to your last interview, they're hoping for something special in a relationship. But those human stories are the stories that have made St. Peter's live across 800 years. And so that's why it's really important to us that we celebrate with the local community in whatever ways the local community want to come into the building and celebrate with us.
And what are you asking the local community to do for next year's festivities?
We're asking them to do whatever they like. What we're doing, we're throwing the doors open and we're going out to the local groups, the historical and archaeological associations, music groups, the jazz club, children's organisations, uniformed groups. We're going to be going out to the local schools and saying, this building is your building. What would you like to come in and do? So I'd imagine, I'd hope I know some of the music groups are going to come in and put on special performances. We're going to have lectures as part of it. We're going to have a big St. Peter's Fair on the 2nd of July. We used to hold that in the past, and that kind of fell into abeyance, so we're going to do that again, and it's going to be a gloriously hot and sunny day as it is today. I'm guaranteeing that for July the 2nd next year.
But I have to ask, I mean, it sounds amazing that all these events, and it's almost like you've given everybody free rein to do what they like, which allows them to then just go absolutely wild with their imagination. But I suspect it must be difficult to try and pull something together like this during the pandemic?
Yes. So yes, I've been approaching a lot of groups, and I'm really pleased to say that we're getting very positive feedback from most of the people we get in touch with, and, again, including some of the great sports clubs in Berkhamsted. And at the moment, people aren't really saying, well, on March the 27th, we'll come in and put on a concert, because, as I appreciate very much, and I'm sure you do too, at the moment, just trying to think past the next 2 weeks is quite a lot of work. So 2022 probably feels like it's 800 years away at the moment for a lot of groups and organisations that are just struggling day by day and week by week to keep up with the changing landscape that we're facing. So I'm happy that people are expressing a positive interest in getting involved. I'm relaxed about the fact that right at this moment in time, they're not able to definitely put something in the diary for next year, but they're going to, and it's going to be brilliant.
And Stuart, you just said you're happy for people to get involved, so how do they contact you if they'd like to do that? Well,
the parish website is stpetersberkhamsted.org.uk, and there's my contact details are on there, both phone and email. There's social media. St. Peter's Berko is our Twitter handle. So yes, is it a Twitter handle? No, it's called something else, isn't it? Anyway, whatever it is, we're out there on social media and on the website, so people can get in touch with us those ways.
So now, looking ahead of next week instead of next year, most COVID restrictions are lifting in England tomorrow. What will that mean for your church services going ahead?
Well, that's a conversation we're kind of having at the moment. In some ways, nothing has changed insofar as our number one priority remains keeping people safe, the same as it's been for the last 15 months. I think the thing that's changing that's most significant is making sure people feel that they're safe. Obviously, some people tomorrow are going to want to throw their masks in the air and embrace the nearest stranger, and other people are still going to be feeling very anxious about what the future holds. And in terms of a place of worship, we need to make sure that both those sets of people feel comfortable being in St. Peter's. So I think one of the strange things was there was no changes for places of worship in step 3 of this journey we've all been on. So actually, in theory, we have a really big change ahead of us, going from people being distanced, masked, not singing, all that sort of thing, to, as I say, in theory, next week, sitting cheek by jowl, unmasked, bellowing away, thine be the glory, or whatever they like. Now, obviously, that's a huge change for people. So we're going to be taking gradual steps, and we're also going to make sure that there's space in church for people who do want to remain distanced and do want to remain more cautious, and making sure that they feel comfortable. It would be so sad after this difficult 15 months we've been through if there are people who are going to come to church this Sunday and feel safe and comfortable there, who decide next Sunday, actually, it's no longer a safe place for me and I'm going to stay away. So we need to make sure, as I say, that people stay safe, which we've been doing for the last year and a bit, but also that people feel safe.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll be the most welcoming place. That's the first thing. So there's no doubt that all places of worship are just so happy to be welcoming their congregation back. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. That was Reverend Stuart Owen, and we're heading fast into the news.